Hello and welcome back to the MyClayCo studio. My name is Carla and today we are going to be making a polymer clay glasses tray. A number of our customers actually specialise in polymer clay decor items, so when we're making and designing our polymer clay cutters, we always like to think outside the box and try and come up with new and different ideas to offer those customers for their decor creations. When we thought up the idea of glasses trays, honestly it was a no-brainer for us. I wear glasses every single day, and since making these glasses trays, I use them every day as well. So I think we should just get into it and make our glasses tray today. So I've laid out everything that we're going to need for our glasses tray. I have my glasses tray cutter. I have two different colors because we're going to be using a duotone for this creation. I've rolled it out with my roller, and then I also have my tissue blade and craft knife just for getting it all together. I've already rolled my clay out, so I'm going to put my roller to the side and we're going to get into cutting out the shapes. So I'm going to be putting this lighter color in this bottom section and then the darker color up the top. So what I want to do is cut out my lighter color first, just so that I don't get dark transferring onto the light at all with my cutter. So all I have to do is line it up just so that this section is cut out. You don't want to press too hard on the indents, otherwise they may push all the way through, but you do want to make sure that you're applying enough pressure so that it is indenting those details. As you can see now, I've got my cute little owl face. So now I'm going to cut out the top as well so that we can piece them together. Okay, so I've got my two sections stamped out. I didn't press too hard on the indents on this one because I am actually going to be cutting the face out, and for that I'm going to need my craft blade. So all I'm going to be doing is tracing around where those lines are on both of these sections of the owl so that I can then move this piece into the top piece. Okay, so I'm going to be moving this bottom piece up here, so I just want to make sure that I'm just cleaning up my tile there. To move this bottom piece up to the top, I'm going to be using my tissue blade. But as you can see, I'm just smoothing around the edges just to make sure that I haven't got any of those indents showing and just giving it a nice rounded edge. I'm going to do the same up on the top too, just to make sure that they're as pretty as can be before I put them together. Okay, now that I've got those nice smooth edges, I'm going to work at putting the bottom into the top. So all I need to do is take my tissue blade, just going at a 45-degree angle and shimmying it under, making sure I'm applying pressure to the tile to avoid slicing my clay. Once I get to a certain point, I can start lifting it and just slicing underneath, just to loosen that clay. And there we go. I've got a beautiful little face. So I'm just making sure that I don't have any clay balls on the back, because the back of the tray is obviously going to be stuck down to the tile so that we can bake it flat. So to put this one in, I'm literally just going to be fitting it in the center there and then just gently shimmying in so that both the pieces of clay are touching each other. This is really important that you don't have any gaps when you go to bake it, otherwise those gaps obviously will appear in your finished product. So if you want, you can also lift these parts up so that you can press them in together. Okay, now that I've got those two pieces together, I just really want to make sure that they're connected. So I'm just lightly applying pressure with my finger here and just smoothing over those edges. So next thing we're going to do is just clean up the edges and lift them off of the tile. So this is what's going to be creating our glasses tray form. So a lot of the time with trinket dish cutters or other decor cutters, you might put them into a bowl to form them. But another way to do it is literally just to lift up the sides. So all you need to do to lift up the sides is, again, you're just going to shimmy that blade and kind of slide it all the way around. You don't need to go completely under because we're not lifting the whole thing off. Just enough so that we're getting those edges up. The whole time I'm applying downward pressure onto my tile to make sure that I'm not slicing the clay away and that I'm actually pulling it off of the tile itself. You can clean up edges with a sander after it's baked, or you can do it at this point in time. It's completely up to you and your personal preference. I'm just going to clean mine up after I've baked it. And all I'm going to be doing is just folding up my edges. I don't need a huge lip on my glasses tray because it doesn't need to hold anything too much in. It just needs to be able to sit my glasses in it. As for the ears, they don't really have a functional purpose other than just to look cute. So it doesn't really matter whether they're flat, whether they're up. It's all just a personal preference on how you want the aesthetics. I'm just going to slightly curve mine up because I think that will look cute. And I'm just going to check with my glasses on it. Yeah, that's going to be adorable. Good sizing. I've only got a small lip all the way around, and that's it. I'm going to bake this one now because once it's baked, we can then fill in and do the embellishments on the eyes and the beak after. So before I put it in the oven, I'll just show you I have tidied up the edges just a little bit with my craft blade, so I have less sanding to do later. And I thought I'd also show you my clay excess. So I did have quite a lot of clay out for these ones at the beginning, but there is a lot of excess that you end up cutting off. So it probably only equates to maybe 1 block of polymer clay, if not a little bit less, of the Sculpey brand. So yeah, it doesn't take too much clay to do a glasses tray because I get quite a lot of excess. Also, it is about 3 millimeters thick in terms of what I rolled it out to, just to make sure that it's going to hold that form by itself in the oven. If I had it thinner, it might droop and not hold this really nice form on the edges. So just make sure that you're rolling it out thick enough for that baking process. Okay, I've got my piece out of the oven. You can see that the sides stayed up, which is great, exactly what we want. We're just going to infill these detailed bits here. So I've got some liquid clay. It's actually just brown metallic liquid clay, which I have added in some of our autumn copper pigment powder in just to give it a little bit of a shimmer. And also it was a little bit thick, so I did add some clay softener to it. This isn't necessary, but it was just not running at all. And I need it to be just a little bit runny just so I can get in there almost like paint consistency. You don't want it too thick or it's going to end up being too difficult. Okay, so to get it into these small kind of grooves, you can use a needle tool. I've just got this kind of modeling tool. It's kind of a little bit scoopy and it's got a point on the end. I just find that it hasn't got quite as sharp a tip as a needle tool, so I find it a little bit easier when trying to get into these areas, and it's slightly curved, so it does help as well. So all you need to do is just grab a little bit on the end of your tip, and you're just going to systematically go through and colour these in. So as you can see here, I have kind of gone outside the lines. So that's completely fine. It's very difficult to try and get in and not go outside the lines. So all you need to do is just wipe over the top of this with a baby wipe, and that'll take that excess off and leave what's in the gaps. Okay, so as you can see, that's cleaned up nicely, so I don't have any excess over the sides. So now all we have to do is the little beak. This is actually quite easy because we're just going to be flooding in the center there. So I can use the same tool because it has got that slight scoop in it. So I'm just going to scoop a bit out and just infill. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of a dome on this so it does look a little bit more like a beak. Okay, I'm happy with that one. I've got a slight dome on that little beak, so all I'm going to do is pop that back in the oven just to bake that liquid clay. We hope you liked the video today and that you found this tutorial useful. Remember, we did use a cutter today, but you can actually hand cut it out. That's completely fine as well. It's just a little bit more work and trial and error to try and get it perfect. But we do have the cutters available on our website if you did want to have a look. As always, we hope that you found it enjoyable. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.